It is time for breaking news from the Cultural Hall. Yeah, so we recorded a news earlier. You'll get that another time, but this exciting, particularly pertinent information, things that I know a bit about from a firsthand experience. It's Articles of News, the breaking news edition, and I'm joined by Megan the Mitch Mitchell. No beanie this time. You'll hear about that in the future, which is the past. How are you, Megan?
I'm wonderful. Wonderful. How are you? Since I
I
haven't talked to you in like
It's been
45 minutes.
hours, hour singular, maybe a couple hours. Here's this from the church. Uh, I almost can't even believe it. But you
I
said,
know.
"Hey, have you seen this yet?" And I said, "Wait, what? The what?" The headline from the church newsroom. So unless it's fake, like the Tim Ballard stuff, maybe it's not real. Kidding. Responsibility and ownership of sacred sites and historic documents transfer to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Acquisitions include the Kirtland Temple, historic buildings in Nauvoo, and manuscripts of Joseph Smith's translation of the Bible. How about that?
So exciting.
It's interesting, having served my mission in the Kirtland area. I know that when people would always go and visit the Kirtland Temple, people would always be like, it doesn't feel like the other temples. And then they'd say things like, one day we'll have this to the community of Christ people, which was, super non-Christian of us.
Absolutely.
And I think that the response that we always had as missionaries and just as members of the church in general is, if the church wanted to have said buildings, we've got enough money that clearly we could, acquire these things. And now it appears that said amount of money has been paid, and the acquisition will go forth.
So exciting. So
Yeah.
exciting. Go
Long
ahead.
time coming too. No, please jump in as you, we're getting this information within the hour
As it
when we're
rolls
recording
out.
this. Yeah.
So it says that the Kirtland Temple will remain a historic building starting on March 25th of this year. It will be open for public tours at no charge. And then the buildings that they acquired over in Nauvoo include the Smith family homestead, the Mansion House. I have no idea what that is. And the Red Brick Store. Those will also open on March 25th, 2024 for year-round public tours. So it's interesting. They're not like, hey, we've got the temple, let's dedicate it, go forth. We're keeping it as a historic site for the time being. I mean, maybe they'll rededicate it at some point. But for right now, go take tours, experience that. But it's officially owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
So a couple of fascinating things that come to my mind. First of all, the Mansion House is where when the prophet and Hiram were, I forget what the term is, but when they were not laid to rest, but people could come and pay their respects.
Oh, like
that was at the
wake?
Mansion's house. Yeah. And they also, they lived at the Mansion House for a short time. And of course, the Red Brick Store is where the Relief Society first met. The Kirtland Temple. Interesting. My mind immediately went to that episode that we did a while back, episode number 667 with Benjamin Felix. You can find him on Instagram, where he talks about and actually draws out as an architect how we could convert the Kirtland Temple into a functioning temple. So was he being coy? Did he know something in advance? Go back and listen to that episode 667. I think that they'll make it, I think they'll just make it a historic site, like you said. At this point, it's going to be closed though for 3 weeks, which I thought is significant. It will close, as I understand it, today, effective immediately, and then open again. What is 3 weeks from yesterday, the 25th of March? I think that that's significant. There are a few other things worth mentioning. President Nelson said, "We are deeply honored to assume the stewardship of these sacred places, documents, and artifacts." So I think that's cool. We thank our friends at Community of Christ for their great care and cooperation in preserving these historical treasures thus far. We are committed to do the same. Community of Christ, if the people don't know, used to be the reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's an international faith community dedicated to fostering authentic connections with one another and with God. It strives to restore Christ's peace on earth and challenge unjust systems that diminish human worth. Community of Christ affirms the intrinsic worth of every person and provides a place to belong, be loved and valued, grow spiritually, and discover a purpose that can change lives and communities. There is also a frequently asked questions page that the church has put out.
Our church or their church?
Our church, as in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yeah.
The real estate, along with the artifacts, that's one thing. And archives, apparently, in Independence, Missouri, is part of it too. Not included, but that's part of the frequently asked questions.
Yeah.
The most significant items are the Kirtland Temple, the Smith family homestead, the Mansion House, the Nauvoo House, and the Red Brick Store. So have you ever been to Nauvoo before?
I have not. My husband has, but I haven't been there.
Yeah, it's sort of an interesting experience, and this will change it quite a bit because you sort of go, we'll do the mainstream LDS church places today and the Community of Christ church places tomorrow, or, you kind of coordinate and do that differently. The other thing is that there are missionaries from the Community of Christ church that are serving at each of these
historic sites
that they owned. Their mission just got changed, or maybe not. Maybe we say, hey, you are the aficionados about these particular places. We would love to work in cooperation with you. I think that that's significant. Let's see here. Significant documents include manuscripts and the Bible used in the Joseph Smith translation of the Bible. Cool. Wow. 7 letters from Joseph Smith to his wife, Emma. John Whitmer's History of the Church. Original portraits of Joseph and Emma Smith. So got to be painted, not obviously photographs. The cornerstone of the Nauvoo House. The original door of the Liberty Jail. And a document with the title of Characters, which may contain a sample of inscriptions from the gold plates. How cool is that?
So cool. So cool. There was a quote from President Stephen M. Yeasey. He's the president of Community of Christ. And he said, this exchange of assets is significant for our church. Through funding from increased endowments, Community of Christ will have greater capacity to pursue our mission priorities around the world, including continuing to fulfill the divine envisioned purposes of our temple in Independence, Missouri. So mutually beneficial, obviously. I have seen their temple, and it's unique. I actually thought it was really cool looking. It's got a really interesting spiral.
Yeah, some people call it like the conch or like a seashell.
Yeah.
As it rises up from the ground. It's cool. It's a fun piece of architecture there in Independence. Other questions? Why did the church purchase these materials? The sites and artifacts in this transaction relate to significant events and people in the restoration of the gospel of Jesus Christ. What is the relationship between the two churches? They enjoy a strong, respectful, and friendly relationship. For many decades, they've collaborated on numerous historical and humanitarian projects. Have there been other historic materials that have been transferred between the two churches? Yes, I didn't know about this. Community of Christ sold to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints several properties, including the Hans Mill Massacre site, the Joseph and Emma Smith home in Kirtland. 5 years later, the Community of Christ sold the printer's manuscript of the Book of Mormon to the Church of Jesus Christ. I knew about that. What was paid for the properties, artifacts, and documents? Are you ready for this?
Yes.
$192.5 million without assigning specific values to the properties and items.
Yeah.
Wow. Will the historic sites be open to the public? Yes. Before, I think there was actually a cost or a suggested donation to tour the Kirtland Temple. I can't remember if they said, you have to buy a ticket and actually pay to go through, or if they were like, yeah, free, but come on. This is an older building, and we'd really like your money. There's the box with
the slot. Yeah. Put the dollar bill in. Yeah.
So they are now closed as of today, as of this recording, and they will reopen to the public on the 25th of March.
I wonder if that's so they can change just things like signage and whatnot,
Sure. No admission to them once they're reopened. Will members of the community of Christ continue to have access to the sites? Yes.
Yes.
Will the Kirtland Temple be converted into a functioning Latter-day Saint temple? No.
No.
And that, of course, mentions then the Cleveland Temple that is going to be built. The
How close is that?
rendering, not close.
Okay.
Will the church continue to pursue development of its proposed new visitor center near the Nauvoo Temple? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is, I'm looking through this, all of the different things.
The discussions for the agreement date all the way back to June 2021. So it's been in the works for a while. Mm-hmm.
They got some other cool stuff too, things that are sort of smaller, but like a bowl. They got Emma Smith's walking stick.
Oh.
They got 2 Smith family chairs, Lucy Mack Smith's rocking chair, Joseph Smith desk from the Mansion House, the Emma Smith trunk, 2 Nauvoo Temple moonstones, oval window frame. They got an 1820s couch that was associated with the Whitney family. That was in the Kirtland Temple.
Okay.
Yeah, some of these things are sort of interesting, right? Just like, yeah. Cool. Just all sorts of little things that were acquired. It's pretty exciting, though. I'm excited to be able to go now and see the differences, if there are any, in the way that either the church portrays it or, if they make any changes to the buildings themselves. I can't imagine that they would.
Right. Were you able to tour it when you were there on your mission?
Yeah. In fact, so in the Newell K. Whitney store, that's where we start our mission. Up in the School of the Prophets in the Whitney store, they clear everybody out and you get the time. Yeah, I think I've talked about it before. Pretty sure that I have. But it was a time that they would take your district and they would allow you to be in the MTC, or I'm sorry, in the School of the Prophets, and you just got as much time as you wanted. And you could kind of, the way that they talked about it is they said this is an opportunity to covenant or consecrate your time to serving the Lord. And it was the first thing. So like you land in Cleveland, you go to the mission home that night, and then the first thing in the morning on your first full day, you go here, they tell you the significance of it, and then they allow you the opportunity to sort of pray and speak with God. And then the hard or beautiful or whatever part about that was your last thing that you did before you went back to the mission home, as you went back, essentially a return and report sort of opportunity.
Wow.
And multiple people, both in my district and, you'd hear tale of it throughout the mission, would report back and you would just hear them sobbing. And I think some of those people sobbing are, feeling like they maybe could have done more than they had actually done, or, had maybe taken some time and not done the things that they should have, right?
Sure.
And had this time that they then find themselves being held accountable for it within that time. But a special, significant, awesome, I can't wait. This means now more than ever that I need to make that plan to get to Kirtland to
go back and visit.
Yeah. Maybe I'll go in 3 weeks.
There you go.
Maybe
See, here's the thing. I was avoiding my math homework and just like scrolling social media. And then I like kind of casually passed over all of the text and just saw pictures. And I was like, oh, those are neat. And then I read the text and I was like, jaw on the floor. And I called my husband and I was like, you're never going to believe this. And he's like, yeah, probably not. What is it? And I told him and he was like, wow, holy cow, wasn't expecting that. And then Richie, you were my second message.
Oh, right after your husband.
Right after my husband. So,
well,
you're a good friend.
Appreciate that. And I'm glad that you were able to be available so that we could be able to do this. The frequently asked questions document, we'll make a link for that in the show notes. You'll be able to see the written out various things like the 7 letters, the 4 pages from the Revelations book 1, the manuscript notes of an 1879 interview with Emma Smith by Joseph Smith III, all of these things that came as part of this acquisition. So very cool. I hope that you'll go and check that out. $192.5 million. I don't know if I thought that it would be that much or that little.
Yeah.
But significant to note that now the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints owns all of these historic sites, and I'm excited to be able to have those missionaries be able to serve in those spaces as well.
Right, exactly. It was interesting on the social media post from the church newsroom. It just says for an agreed upon amount. Doesn't say the number. Which it's just funny to me. And it's great that we acquired the Red Brick Store because, as you mentioned, that's where the Relief Society was established, and we're coming up on the anniversary of the establishment of the Relief Society next Sunday, the 17th. So that's it. And there's going to be a big devotional about all of that. So it's apropos.
Well, interestingly enough, too, now as I'm trying to refresh the site and get all these things down. So I'm not sure if it's because people are going to it and it's just, crashed, overwhelmed with stuff, crashed, or if something has been changed. But 192.5 million, that's the question that everyone is going to be asking, but you should be asking probably something else. It is a breaking news. Such a cool episode that we were able to put together. And you know what? I'm going to do? I'm going to tack on the other news and we'll pretend like it was all part of a thing.
I love it.
So coming up after a quick thing where that news will come. All right. That's why that's there. Okay. All right.
Cool.
Thanks, Megan.
No problem. Bye.